There we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Terry Golightly. I'm with Johnson University and the LAMP Consortium, and I want to introduce to you this morning Lucy Talents, who's going to take us on learning pathways in Lessons Tool. Dr. Lucy Talents works for the Wildlife Conservation Research Unit at Oxford University's Zoology Department. Her online courses in wildlife conservation techniques are designed for global audiences of conservation professionals. A fellow of the UK's Higher Education Academy, Lucy is an enthusiastic user of Sakai to encourage interaction and peer learning. She was joint winner of the 2015 Teaching with Sakai Innovation Award in the Higher Ed Online Hybrid category and winner of the 2015 Ox Talent Award Use of WebLearn to Support Teaching, Learning or Out category. For her innovative course on research design and statistics for conservation practitioners, she aims to provide and promote active engagement, not only when she teaches, but also during her conference presentations. I will be assisting and moderating and making sure that questions get answered. Please post any questions in the chat area. And Lucy, go for it. At least that's my intention. Are you on there?
Yes. So now you should be able to see me and you should be able to hear me.
Okay. Do you have control?
I don't have control of the slides yet. I'm going to make myself back the presenter. I appear to have wrested control entirely from you, Terry. Sorry.
Okay, that's good.
Well, it's great to see so many people already joined us. And I just want to emphasize, well, thank you, Terry, for the introduction, but I just want to emphasize that this is definitely not a session about me sitting here and talking to you and telling you all about what we do. I really want it to be interactive. I really want you guys to bring your ideas. And I don't know how many of you might have attended my session in last year's Sakai virtual conference, but it was all based around using student pages in the lessons. So I'm going to show you where you can get engaged, because what I would like to do is for all of us to share what we're already doing with lessons. Or share our ideas about how we would like to use lessons to help us to structure learning pathways. So I'm hoping that you guys will grab screenshots of your courses and you will describe what you're doing in the lessons page, and then we'll have an opportunity to look at and comment on what each other's doing, as well as sharing ideas here in this webinar window. So I'm just going to show you by sharing my screen where you can access okay, here we go, where you can access the student pages. So, oh, it's telling me I need to download something. This might take a little while. So in the meantime, I will describe to you. So in order to join this session, you were on in the Tri-Sakai site for the conference, and you're on the Learning Pathways in Lessons, Birds of a Feather discussion page. Below the blue Join Session button, there's a little hands-on activity button. And if you click on that, you'll see there are some instructions about how the session is going to run. And you will see that there is an opportunity for you to create a student page so that you can share visually with each other what you're doing in lessons. So I'm going to install this software that might allow me to screen share later on in the webinar. But in the meantime, I encourage you to go onto the Tri-Sakai site for this session and start up your own student page. Okay, I can see that at least 2 people have joined us. Thank you, Douglas and Michael. Great to see you there. So the first task that I'm suggesting you do, okay, hang on, I'm actually going to switch on the screen sharing. Can somebody confirm whether you can see my screen already? Oh, wonderful. You've probably been watching it for the last 5 minutes, haven't you? Yes, it is somewhat small. You're very right. Let me see if I can change that. It says I cannot max. Oh, I'll tell you what. This is what I needed to do, I think, because I'm scared. There we go. Now I can't see because I'm showing you the whole of my screen. I can't see what you're putting in the chat window, but I'm hoping that someone in there is confirming you can now see the whole of the page on Sakai for learning pathways in lessons. So the first task is to scroll down to the bottom of the page. There'll be an add your own page link here in this area down at the bottom. And you'll have an opportunity there to write about either what you do in lessons at the moment or what you would like to do. And ideally, you will grab some screenshots from your own courses so that we can actually see visually what you're up to. And then shortly, I will ask you to move on from that to looking at on the other people's student pages to see what they're doing. And later on, we'll have an open discussion to wrap up the kind of things that we've learned from looking at each other's work. So I will stop screen sharing for now, and I'll give you a chance to focus on what you're doing on your own screens. Terry says that she uploaded her presentation for the lightning session. Fantastic. Thank you, Terry. I'm still only seeing 3 people who've created student pages, so do let me know if you're trying to do that and you're struggling in some way.
Lucy, I see over a dozen.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll try refreshing my page.
Refresh your
Excellent.
page.
Yeah, I'll do that. Wonderful. Yeah, loads more people. That's great.
Linda, we are going back to the Tri-Sakai page just to meet for this session and finding the hands-on activity button and opening a student page to upload an example of what you've been doing in lessons.
I'll also just say that if anybody wants to show what they're doing lessons by sharing their screen directly, I'm very open to that happening in this session as well. I can give presenter control temporarily to people if there's something dynamic that you want to show that it would be hard to capture in a screenshot.
We have about 28 minutes left.
Mm-hmm. That's fine, Terry, not a problem at all.
I'm just track.
Sorry, Terry Golightly, I was responding to Terry Miller in the chat window saying she's here to learn, not ready to show yet. I should re-speak those comments. Yeah, so it's absolutely fine if you're just here to see what everyone else is doing. If you've got an idea about how you might use lessons, you're very welcome to create a page and kind of try and solicit a little bit of feedback on your ideas. But it's fine if you just want to have a see what other people are doing. And I've just posted a link that should take you directly to the hands-on activity if you're struggling to find it. I can't wait to have a look at what everyone else is doing as well. I might catch up later. I know from experience that material proliferates in this kind of session, and it's really great to see what everyone is doing and to have back in on it later in the day as well. Okay, so I'm going to move on the slides to suggest that you start thinking about, if you've populated your own student page with something about how you're using lessons, thinking about looking at other people and commenting, asking them maybe how they set something up or why they set something up in a particular way. And don't forget, if you've set up your own page, go back and see if you can respond to any of the comments that people are putting on there. And while everyone's beavering away, I just think it's worth reminding you that obviously we're using student pages right now in order to share our practice, but its designs can collaborate or work individually to create something and share it with tutors. And student pages are also group aware, so it's possible for you to set assignments or set little exercises or add to different, and then give them the opportunity to grade each other's work using a peer marking rubric, or give them a chance to comment on each other's work in the way that we are right now. Terry Golightly, that's a great question to Terry Miller, who says she's here to learn, not ready to show. Terry Golightly is asking, what is it that you want lessons to do for you?
And then Julie de Cesare said she added a screenshot that they use as a demo for faculty interested in lessons in Sakai 11. They have not yet upgraded. So.
Excellent. I'll take a look. And do feel free to put your hand up if you do want to show something using screen sharing. So Natasha is asking, she says, I like how I formatted the minute questions at the bottom of the page. Does Sakai 10 allow this as well? Yes, it definitely does. I think questions was something that came in with the introduction of the lessons tool. So I definitely used questions last year when in Oxford we were still using Sakai 10.
I like Laura Sierra's comment. She says, we have an instructor here at Notre Dame who teaches Latin. She has over 50 quizzes that students interact with to learn Latin vocabulary and grammar rules. Since Tests and Quizzes tool offers no way to order quizzes other than due dates, she stages links to all the quizzes within a lessons page. She groups them by topic and has one section for the more formal tests. Now students can easily find the topics they need to review and know where to find the bigger graded tests. So that's not a graphic thing, but it's certainly an organizational thing that could be very valuable for a lot of teachers who have a lot of quizzes.
Absolutely, and I think it also leads back to what Corey was saying in her presentation just before this one, or a couple before this one, about linking in learning. Just improving the navigation has many ways in which you can do that. Really helps the students to find their way around the course materials, to land on the page that has exactly what they need.
That's a very valuable
resources. That's great.
Very valuable part of lessons, that's for sure.
Julie asks whether people find lessons is better in different browsers. Julie, I have experience with that, so I'm alerting people to that question in case they can say. I know that when I log in as a student, I've set myself up on my own sites with a different email address as a student user to enable me to check that exactly how things are going to look to the students. And I can do that logged in as a tutor in one browser and as a student in a different browser, and mean they're not getting confused about it. That seems to work fine, so I tend to use Mozilla and Chrome to do that, and they both seem to work okay. So we've got over 20 pages now that people have created. I've only looked at a couple of them. I haven't been taking the time to look through all of them. So it's probably worth at this stage. You're very welcome to carry on commenting, carry on putting examples of your own work on those student pages. But I just want to suggest that now, if we have a think about what is it that you've seen just now in this session that inspired you to do something with less?
Maybe you
are trying to keep.
Lucy, you could restate that. You're breaking up some.
Okay, absolutely. So I suggest you are very welcome to carry on putting things in your own student page to demonstrate what you're doing with lessons. And I encourage you to keep looking at and commenting on pages now, which people have populated. I haven't looked at many of them, so I've moved us on to task 3. So at this point, if you've seen something on someone's page that you found useful, it's confirming that you find pathway, then share it with us in the chat window. So just draw people's attention to little things that you've discovered about how you can use lessons. So I'd like to draw attention to Julie's page because she's got a really nice example there of how
You're breaking up again.
She's Okay, thank you. I will slow down. Tell me if it's better when I speak slowly. But Julie, on her page, she's showing how the multi-column layout on Sapphire 11 allows her to organize the resources, visuals of YouTube videos, and it just gives that little bit more structure to the students so that they can see what it is they're supposed to do. Maybe they have two alternative tasks to choose from before they get on to the next activity. That was Julie's page, and I'm hesitating to say her surname because I don't know how.
Well, if she's pronouncing it the Italian way, it would be De Cesare.
De Cesare.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I
If
hope that's
she's
correct, Julie. Great, thanks for confirming.
Here's a question from Laura. She says, I dropped in some Bootstrap classes in the source window of the text boxes that seem to render incorrectly. I know Sakai utilizes the Bootstrap framework. Does anyone know, are there known issues with using Bootstrap conventions such as columns and various classes? Open question.
I'm afraid that's outside my realm of expertise, so I'll open it up to the floor. Does anyone know the answer to that question?
We'll have to research that. That may just be something just a little strange happening right now.
So I've just clicked on Randall Harrison's page, and he's using this brilliant bright blue, very visual banner across the top of his page. And perhaps that's less about structuring learning pathways and more about just the visuals, but it's something that Corrie was also emphasizing in hers, is to use banners, because not only does it kind of catch attention and draw the eye, allows students to instantly see where they are, helps them with their navigation if they have a familiar banner, the course. And that's something that in the last session as well, maybe one of the lightning sessions about skins in school in Sakai 11, to have an institutional skins, the formatting of your site is the same across the institution, but apparently it's also possible to give individual sites a separate skin, so they have that visual identity, which is really handy for students if they're members of multiple course sites.
at about 8 minutes.
Thanks, Terry. I'd like to draw people's attention now to Jason Reed's page. I'm going to type that in the chat window just in case my audio is cutting out as well. So you'll notice that when you look at his page, all of his buttons for the different lessons, they have a star beside them. And I think that that's because he's saying that they're prerequisites. So people have to have done those in order to continue on to the next thing. I don't know, Jason, if you're listening, can you confirm that that's how it works? Linda, great. Thank you, Jason. That's really useful. I've also seen Linda's question. She couldn't get images to work. In this, because you guys just have student permissions, or no, I think actually just the way that the TriSat working for this conference, in order to upload images, rather than adding and linking to an image from there, what you need to do is go to the Add Content button and embed content on page. And that's how you get lessons in. You can then browse to a file.
Sharon Combs Eisbarth has a question about conditional release based on time interval. She says, we currently have students attest 24 hours has passed since completion of the prior module. I haven't heard of doing that.
Since they've done something previously. Yeah. A way to do that. I don't know if anyone else has that they can share with us.
And Jason's asking about the consensus from everyone's students. Do students like the lessons tool? Sharon, my idea on that is that you would just need to have a timed release of an element after another element closes. I don't know that there's a way to time it from the time a student submits a reflection of or an assignment or something. It's a little more complicated, Lucy, for you to call in, isn't it? We've got 4.5 minutes left in this session. You can be still recording your reflections of individuals' efforts in their windows, or if you have another question that you want to put in the chat, that would be a good thing to do at this point so we can deal with those.
And I would love to hear people's responses to Jason's question. What's the consensus from everyone's students? Do they like the lessons tool? I'll say from my perspective, because my students are based elsewhere from me, they're not campus-based students, they don't really have a choice. The lessons tool is the only way in which they interact with me and with others.
Right. It's kind of what their world is. It's kind of like wondering if they like the floor. It's been a while since lessons tools that started, since we didn't have it. the students who initially were into it liked it, but again, it's just part of the world of current students. I don't know that they separate it out from their regular experience.
I think that a lot of faculty in Oxford, if they're using Sakai actively, they're still using it as a content repository rather than a way to guide students through activities. So I'm not sure how widespread the use of lessons tools is at the moment in Oxford. It's something that I'm hoping to find out with my new project that I'm doing with Adam Marshall at Oxford. It's called Shoal, Sharing Online Activities for Learning. And we're trying to discover and surface for everyone else the innovative Sakai-based activities people are doing. So maybe in a few months' time, I'll be better able to answer that question, Jason.
I've been trying as an instructional designer to guide faculty into using lessons as the only way that they interact with students, in the sense that they don't tell them, go to the resources tool and download this PowerPoint or something like that, that all of that stuff is linked on the lesson page and the students don't have to get behind the curtain, to use a Wizard of Oz metaphor. And it's just, that's where they interact with all of the material that they are presented.
Yeah, I think that's really great, Terry, because it means that it's not just a resource, a piece of reading in isolation, but you can remind them what it is they're supposed to be thinking about and reflecting on as they're doing that reading or as they're watching that instructional video.
Okay, let's try to pull everybody back now, because we have about 90 seconds before this session is over. And just for final reflections and questions that anybody has.
Yeah, there's some positive comments coming out about Terry Miller is saying ease of use for completing course requirements makes lessons very helpful. Sharon says that their students prefer to do the requirement online. And from what Emily says, it seems to depend partly on how the faculty use it as to whether the students enjoy the experience.
Sharon Combs Eisenbarth is asking about any applications.
And there's a great question from Sharon. Are there any applications?
And this would be really great if
spreadsheets.
Interactivity is generally synonymous with the forums and discussions tool, but it sure doesn't have to be, because the wiki's a good place to go, blogs, that kind of thing. But as far as off of Sakai, that's part of what the question is asking. Trying to use Maple TA in my economics class. I'm not sure what that is, Jason. Storyline is a good tool. Sharon says they use Storyline for drag and drop and type in reflections. I posted an image on my page of mind mapping. Also good. The only thing with Storyline is if you have any quizzing or testing, it doesn't really integrate with the gradebook at this point. Now we're getting all these comments. Interactivity, the Google spreadsheets to collect data as a class, collaborative mind mapping in Mind 42. Emily Course says in lessons, the question items and add comment sections really allow for student engagement. Linda Beath asks, Sharon, how do you handle the SCORM piece? You guys need to exchange emails, because it sounds like there's a conversation going on here. The lessons tool went down well, Liz says, for navigability and usability evaluations with students. Laura Sira says some are trying third-party tools like Xerti, which is an LTI tool that will integrate on Sakai, H5P, which have more interactive type questions. Sharon Combs Eisenbarth, I programmed the module separate, then used tests and quizzes in Sakai.
Yeah, the same thing. Sorry, Terry. I just want to support Sharon in that approach, because you can embed the tests and quizzes in lessons. So the learning material is there, and then the ability to test them and to give them feedback is right there as well.
Right. Yeah, it's a great tool. It's a great tool.
I vote as well. I vote for Xerti. There's one thing that I think
Xerti works, and we lost you.
Different feedback depending on the answer the students have given, and
Xerti is supposed to be a course authoring tool that functions a lot like Captivate or the other one that was a Storyline, but it will integrate with the gradebook is my understanding. I haven't used it, but that's what I understand. It's an Apereo instrument and is supposed to be integrated. Well, it is 12:22 and it's time to wrap this up just as we get lots of things coming in. So you all have a great lunch, and if you get a chance to participate in the trivia event while you're eating lunch, I hope you win a whole lot of stuff.
Thanks a lot, everyone. It's been a pleasure seeing what you're up to and having all of that dialogue at the end.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.